How's it going? In this video here, we're going to be talking about how to retire early before you get old. Is that possible at all? Well, it is possible. I was able to retire, and you can see I retired early before I started getting old, like super old. I can't even walk, and I need to be in a retirement village. That's not my idea of retiring. In this video here, we're going to be talking all about it, of how you can retire early, obviously utilizing real estate. And I think this works in any market at all. And this I have utilized for myself. I'm no longer working for anyone. I retired. It's been about 2 years now since I retired. And I now just live off my passive income that comes from my property. So I think maybe we should have titled this actually, how to retire early before you get old with utilizing your property rental income. That is your passive income. Hey, you might be wondering, who is this blog? It is I, TJ, Taurai Jack, and I'm an active property investor. I started investing in property a while ago, and I've been doing it seriously now in a business that is called Boom M5 Property Addicts. And if I'm not doing that, I teach other people how to do the same, with the hope that they can also retire early. I'm of the view that if I can do it, anyone can do it. And I teach those people in the school that we call M5 Property University, and we teach people there on how they can buy properties for positive rental cash flow that comes through from their properties. If I'm not doing that, I am here talking to you. And if I'm not doing that, I write books. And my book that I recently wrote, it is called From Bad Debt to Property Mogul. And you want to get that book on our website. And yeah, well, like any other day, on this channel here, we are always talking anything and everything about property. And if that's your thing, you want to smash that button that is called subscribe, so that you will get notified whenever we've got something that is going on this channel. And the other people who are like you and me, interested in property, they can also be able to get this content within their feed. Right. Well, let's talk about it. Retiring early. Did I really retire early? Let's go into it. I want to speak to the fact that I think that there is different levels of, success and getting into your retirement stage. But when I looked at this, and this is where actually I want to be very, very precise with you in terms of what are we talking about in terms of retiring. The level one of retiring that I'm talking about here is that back in the days when I was employed, I used to exchange my time for money. So I was employed and it was earned income, right? So I used to exchange my time for an income. However, with the property rental portfolio that I built, I was able actually to get what they call passive income. So my properties have been giving me what is called passive income, or should I say, I've been making profit out of my rental properties. On this channel here, I speak about how you can actually do in as little as 2,000 Rand. There's another video that I did a couple of weeks ago. And within that video, you can see how easy it can be done. But I've also shown you on other videos where actually you can make as far as 10 grand, where you can actually make a little bit more. And I'm of the view that if I can do it, you can do it too. So let's come back to level one. Level one is you've got an income, and that is your end income. You're exchanging your time and you're being employed, and out of the employment, you're getting an income. So it's an exchange there. And that's what I would like to call that. It is level one. And I was able actually to retire from that. It doesn't mean that I don't work. I still work, but my level of work is different. And I want to go into that level two a little bit later. Right now, I'm just talking about retirement from being an employee elsewhere. And like I always give an example, I like to give the example that let's assume that I used to get a salary of 50,000 Rand, okay? 50,000 Rand a month. This is what I used to get paid at the bank. And again, that's, you know, like a middle class, a middle manager, kind of like into, you know, going into a senior role there. And I can almost say that not everyone gets 50 grand. Not everyone, some are less, some are more. So it's just a number that we're talking about here. So 50,000 Rand, that was my money that I used to earn. We're making an example here. And with that, I then said, okay, how do I get to my properties so that all of my properties that I'm buying, they can replace my 50,000? That was level 1 of retirement. And I then said, if I'm able to buy a 2-bed, 1-bath, and it gives me a positive rental income of 2,000, I basically need how many of those? I need 25 of those. Ooh, that's a big job. Should I be buying one every year? One every 6 months? I don't know, right? But I found another recipe, and that recipe allowed me to actually cash flow 10,000 Rand per property, and which then means that I only needed 5 of those, right? And in my past videos, you can see exactly how I work around this this equation. But you can see it. If you are cash flowing 10 grand on one property, you're earning 50,000, you need 5 of those. And out of that, it basically means that when you reached maybe about 6 or 7, you're now on 70,000, you can now retire. So which means that when you have retired, you can say to your employer, cheers, goodbye, we'll see you later, right? But what does that mean in the bigger scheme of things? Like, for instance, for me, that 101 level tick, ding, right? We are done with that. But what is the next level? The next level is I now have these 12 hours. And why do I say 12 hours? For me, actually, it was a little bit more because I used to work, I was based here in South Africa, and I used to work out of the country. So like I never used to see my family for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I'll be out of the country, and which meant that my entire time is not here. But I'm just want to give it an example for an ordinary citizen who is a middle class guy. You work from home, you're going into work, and generally when I was working here in South Africa, it used to take me about 12 hours of my day to actually do my work. What do I mean by that? An hour to go to work, an hour to come back, that's 2 hours. And potentially I was at the employer site for around about 9 hours. So which means that I have a solid 9 plus 2, that's 11 hours, and another hour to prepare to go to that employment. And if traffic is bad, that number goes up. But let's assume all was well, and we had 12 hours. Now that I have reached 101, what is 101? I am looking at simple things. Am I still able to pay my bond if I do have a bond? Tick, yes, I can. Am I still able to go to that 1 year holiday that I used to do when I was employed? Ding, yes, I can. Am I still able to provide food on the table? Ding, yes, I can. Am I still able? So you can see here the drift that I'm talking about of level 101. It is just to make sure that my livelihood and my lifestyle is not changed at all, and I achieved that in level 1. And that's a big success. High five to me. Yes, Taurai. So can you achieve the same? I've just given you the recipe. Yes, you can, right? It just depends on what is your current income right now. You might also want to do the same with, let's say, if you've got a partner, and you can start chasing the lower person within the partnerships. So if you are married, like for instance, I was married, and we're gonna make an assumption here that my wife was earning, let's say, 40,000. So we started off with her first, right? And it's a lower number, or it's a little bit achievable. Hey, but maybe 40,000 is a little bit difficult. How can we achieve that? Well, maybe let's start off with finding one property that can pay off maybe one vehicle, like 2 grand, right? And go check out that video of how you can make 2,000 every month, right? Or maybe we've got kids, and our kids' school fees is maybe 3,000, 5,000 a month. So let's look for that one property or 2 properties that can give us 2,000, 5,000, right? Once we get our feet wet in there, we now understand that we've now tested it. It basically means that that 5,000 that used to go out to the school fees, to the car, whatever it is now back in our circle. And we can also utilize that in terms of our buying power. So your buying power is now increasing, right? Which is a good thing, because now you can borrow more, right? And with that, you can achieve your level 101 of, retiring early. Now, do you have to wait until you are around about 60 years to retire? I don't like that feeling. I don't like that thinking at all. It's not even a feeling. Thinking. Like, I don't see myself at 60 that I'm retired now. I can travel the world. I retire now. Now I can do the fun things. You're old. Like, no disrespect to anyone who's older than you're now retired. No disrespect at all. But for me, I don't want that. I want to travel when I'm still young. I want to go to all the nice places when I'm still young. I want to have the dead time when I'm still young, because I can think nicely. I can take a little bit of risk in other things. I can spend more time with my family. I can do a whole lot of stuff that I want to do. And why wouldn't anyone want to retire early, right? We all know that our kids need us in their younger stages. So why not spend that time with your kids then? Well, I mean, there could be many, many reasons. I think I need to pause here actually and ask the question to you to say, what would be the reason for you to retire early? What would you like to do to retire early? And we're talking here about the level 2. Level 1, 101 is just to replace our income, to make sure that we can achieve that. But I want to speak about 5 things of how you can achieve your level 1 of retirement. The level 1 of retirement. You can still be able to afford to pay all of your expenses, and your livelihood, your lifestyle is not changing to what you've been accustomed to right now. How best can you achieve that? Right. I'm going to jump straight into it, and I'm going to jump on and say, the first thing ever, and this is going to come as if I'm like giving you a high five in the face. It's not the intention. The intention is that collectively we can do it. Collectively we can grow. If I've been able to do it, I'm sure you can too. Well, the first one is, don't be lazy to learn. I'm sorry that it might sound like I'm saying you're being lazy, but that's not the point. The point is that I am saying that let's be students for life. Let's be students for life. Right. What do I mean by that? What I basically mean here is that you can never be able to learn to execute something that is outside your space when you don't know how to do it. Like, for instance, for me, when I started off, I knew that property is my thing. I knew that working was not one of those things that I want to do, to be employed for the rest of my life, because I knew that I wanted to retire early. I had actually set my mark on 35, but 35 came and went. And sooner after that, I did hit, retiring early. Yeah, retiring early. But it came with me getting the education. And what do I mean by getting education? Attending seminars, attending webinars, watching YouTube videos, right? Reading books, right? And all of those things to stimulate my mind, to educate my mind, to open up my mind, to give my mind what I don't know, to explore. right? To take me to places where I've never been before. And for me to be able to realize that, oh, you can do it like that. Because there are other people already out there that are doing it, right? So I'm of the view that at many a times our mind can't comprehend the fact that we can reach our level of 101 because we are lazy to learn. Now, I know you're going to snap me here and say, hey, TJ, you said I'm lazy. But I want to come back to a position to say, a lot of people say to me, you know what, TJ, my job is demanding. You know what, TJ, I'm already doing my doctorate. I'm doing my MBA. I'm doing this. I got kids. I've got 5 kids. I've got this. I can't do this. I'm of the view that if you're serious, like for instance, this is what I do, right? I'm going to give you this book here, right? Right. This is the book. I read this book over a period of 2 weeks, I think it was, okay? And this book is called Why the Rich Get Richer, okay? So this is an example of a book that I read, okay? I've got this book here, and I am going to go to part 1. That's chapter number 1, so we're going to go to part 1, right? Let's see, part 1, how far does it go? It literally goes into, it's got 37 pages here. Not necessarily so. It goes up to page 20, right? Part 1 of this book. And it says here why the rich are getting richer. And this is part 1. It literally has, right, 10 pages. So guess what I did? When I was reading this book, I would do one chapter a day. So I'm talking about 10 pages here. And these 10 pages, not more than 30 minutes. Seriously, if you are seriously wanting to take your journey to the next level, why can you not take 30 minutes? 30 minutes to educate yourself. And there I am, I talk about now why the rich are getting richer. The other side of the coin. Oh, okay, so what is it all about? All right, what should I do with my money? I'm not interested in money. Really? If you're not interested in money, someone else is. Someone else is interested in your money if you're not interested in it, right? Okay, they're talking about it, right? So I go on and I read about a chapter a day. Whether you want to make that chapter in the evening, whether you want to make that chapter in the morning, in the afternoon. And back in the days, I remember actually when I was employed, every lunch hour, I used to go and read a chapter. So I'll tell to all my colleagues, I'm coming back. I'll take my food, warm up my food in the microwave. That's part of saving money. And shoot, I'd go to my car. That was part of getting exercising. That was also part of getting fresh air out of the office. And I would sit in my car for around about 20 minutes. I used to do 20 minutes. So I'll time my phone. 20 minutes, I'm reading my book. My alarm goes off. Wherever I am left off, I'm done. I walk back again to work, and I'm telling you, I had a blocker in my diary, right? In one of my videos, I speak about being disciplined. That blocker in the diary, not unless it was the CEO calling us, nobody shook me out of that block. Because that blocker was about me exercising, taking a walk, me getting fresh air from the office, and number 3, getting my mind to work on me, right? You can still do it now, even if you're not employed, right? You can do it. This book here might look like it's big, but 1 chapter a day, 1 page a day. Some of you can even do books like these ones in a day. You can, because you are fast readers. But I'm talking about me here, the guy who's slow, the guy who wants to scribble, the guy who wants to highlight, the guy who wants to go in and check the dictionary on what does crisis mean? What does gold stand? Right? So here they say, in August 15, 1971 was the day President Richard Nixon took the dollar off the gold standard. What is the gold standard? right? So if you're like me, a guy who's inquisitive of what is being spoken about, I want now go into my maybe Google and now start searching gold standard. What is gold standard? What does it mean? Why did the president now take it off? If the book is obviously not covering that, right? And I can go on now to read this book intellectually and zoom in and understand. And I see that's where a lot of us, that's why I'm saying a lot of us, we are lazy. However, if you become a student for life, that is the first one. I am positive that your level of one, your level one, which is 101, of replacing your active income with passive income, it is very possible, it is very near. The second one is you need to buy rental properties. And I want to stress this one. You need to buy rental properties that gives you positive cash flow, that give you positive cash flow, no matter how small that property is. I remember back in the days, I started off with my 2-bed, 1-bath, and I bought it for 160,000. I renovated it for 50, and the rental was 5,000. I had 2,000 rand profit every month, cash flow on that property. Now, you tell me, right, in a period of, let's say, right, so we are all in here for 210. You divide 2,000 into 210, and you tell me how many months you get there. That's number one. So which means that from there on, I am now free and clear of that property if I bought that property on cash, on debt. And for the rest of my life, that property belongs to me. However, we all know that property appreciates. So obviously the value is also going to grow. The rental is going to grow. So I am not only working for my employer at this time, I'm working on my employer. That's income number one. Income number two, my property is giving me with this 2,000 rand, right? So I'm now also eligible for more income, more debt from the bank because of my additional income that I now have. And then number three, the property itself is appreciating. So it's another income that I can bank into the future, right? So you see, as one man, you've got 3 streams of incomes that can now start coming through your way, right? By just holding a property. That is why I am anti-selling any property. I'm of the view that it doesn't get you to be rich. I'm of the view that it doesn't get you to be driving the Vruba and having to be in the level 2 of where you can go crazy and be on a holiday for months on end or weeks on end, or you can be doing whatever you love to do, right? So that's my second point then. The third point I want to speak about is a lot of you are going to snap me here. You're going to slay me. I can feel it in my bones right now. And but it is true that if you are to follow this, you can get to your level 1 a bit faster. What am I talking about? If you are married, I'm going to say, if you put your guys' salaries together, aim to live on the lowest salary in the household. Aim to live on the lowest salary on the household. Is that possible at all? Well, you can make it work, right? Rather than having a circumstance to make it work for you. Okay, the other way you can look at it is, if you're married, if you combine the salaries together, then slash it in half. So leave off your 50%. Oh, TJ, what about my car? Sell it off. Do you need to drive your car now? How about you don't drive that car now, and then you take a sacrifice for not driving that car now, but for the rest of your life, you can be driving that car. No brainer. Nah, I don't think so. You're not convinced, isn't it? I can see you still want to slay me. Now, let's come back again, right? Again, we're talking about aim to live on 50% of your income. It's something that I failed dismally in when I was employed. But right now, We haven't died. We are still living okay, my wife and I, but we have extremely reduced our spend to almost 40% of what we used to have back in the days when we were both employed. Why? Because we now understand the value of creating what we want to create for the rest of our lives, so we are taking in the sacrifice now. Hey, I've been driving my Volkswagen car for the last 11 years. It hasn't given me problems. I haven't been stuck on the road. My son keeps on telling me that, Dad, we need to change the car. And I keep on telling him, son, when we go and buy another building, and that building needs to buy me that car, right? And he has seen, obviously, a few other buildings that we've bought, and now it's an argument of, but Dad, you said you're going to buy a building, and you did. So I'm like, nah, we haven't bought the right building yet, son. We haven't built the right building. But the point that I want to come back to, guys, here, it's pretty simple. It's living way below your means. I know it's difficult. You know, it's a practice that I didn't even practice when I was employed. They used to talk about it. But I now understand it. I now live way below my means. Like 60%. I'm even happy if we get to maybe like 30%, you know? Why am I doing that? Because what I'm trying to create is I can create a solid savings, and within those savings, the bank can see, oh, this guy, we can give him credit because he knows how to manage his affairs. That's number one. So you can borrow more. When you borrow more, you can buy more. When you buy more, you get more cash flow. When you have more cash flow, you can reach your goals faster. Someone else goes and stays in your property, and then they start paying for your dreams, the stuff that you want to do and how you want to do it and when you want to do it. No restrictions. That's all I'm talking about. All right. So number 4. Again, this one might be difficult again. I am sorry that today we're talking about difficult stuff, but I want you to get to your level 1. I want you to retire early. I was able to retire in 2 years, actually. And I think that's where the theme of the book comes in, actually, to say from bed dead to Property Mogul in 2 years. So in 2 years, I gave it my best. I gave my best foot forward. I worked hard. I cut. I got educated, right? And the 4th point I want to speak to is start now. Start now. What do I mean by start now? Start now with the education. Okay, so high five to you, you're watching this video. Okay, that's number 1. So that's at least you're getting some basic education, right? That's number 1. Number 2, start now to look for properties. Be active, right? Okay, fine. You got that expensive car? Start now. Sell what you can. Sell what you have to sell, right? We never had DSTV at our house. I think DSTV shot to around about 1,000 at a point. And we cut it off. Luckily, one of my older brother's wife, she worked for a company, and for a full bouquet, we were paying a compact price. I can't disclose the company's name. But obviously, that's a benefit that we now have. And they're allowed to have like 4 family members, and that's an employee retention strategy that they've got, you know. So we're winning from that end. But had it been for that, had it not been for that, we were okay in my household to cut out the DSTV, because DSTV was like 1,000 rand. Okay, by no means am I saying that I don't like DSTV. Hey, from time to time I enjoy it. But what are you willing to sacrifice? We cut down to from 2 cars to 1 car in my household. And we started taking the boat at some days. We started waiting for the other to come and pick up the other one. And all sorts of things. Until we actually realized that even that 1 car, we might not even need it. Right? But I mean, of course, if you're working and you need a car, you need it. And we started looking in our household in terms of subscriptions. What are the things that are taking money out of? It was a painful exercise that we needed to do. It was a painful discussion that we needed to do, my wife and I. We started looking at what are we duplicating, right? What is she duplicating that I'm paying for and I'm also paying for? What is it don't we need? So we shaved off a lot of things. At first, the first ever time we did that exercise, we were like, this is what we can do. And we looked at ourselves at one point and we said, what if circumstance forces us? What can we reduce? Your grocery is 10,000. Okay, what are you really buying for 10 grand for a family of 2? I don't know. Is it takeaways? Can you afford to slash that down to maybe 2 grand, 3 grand? I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas here on how you can do it. But start now. Start now improving. Start now trimming. That's all I'm saying. You got plenty of money on the table. How can you make it work? All right. Okay. Number 5. I don't know how to stress this one. I still perform it. I still do it in my business right now, in my personal life. And this is about taking sacrifice. And point number 5, the 5th point is take great, and I won't mention that word again, take great sacrifice in your actions. Take serious sacrifice, right? Take serious sacrifice. I have no idea on how I can stress this. I remember back in the days, I used to be one of that guy on a Saturday, I'm going to visit that cousin, and from there, I'm going to watch movies. From there, I was a sociable person. And I have taken a sacrifice. I took sacrifice actually for 2 years straight on. My Saturday turned out to be a business Saturday. And people started saying, TJ, we don't see you anymore. How come you don't visit anymore? How come you're not? How come you're not? What I did there is I took away a social day, turned it into a business day, turned it into a learning day. And because I was employed at that time, it was able to make sure that my time of unlocking my level 1 of retirement, it kicked in faster. Okay. However, after 2 years, when I was now able to replace my employer, I have slowly now started turning into, when can I actually now start visiting some of my cousins? The social day is slowly coming in. It's not fully there compared to what I used to have before. Because also starting a company, it can also become strenuous. It can also take away most of your time as well, right? So for instance, I decided not to have all of my properties with a property manager out there. We are self-managing, and that also comes in with a bit of work because I'm self-managing. But had I not taken in that great risk in the beginning, the company where we own the property would not be there. The company where we have the property management would not be there. The people that are working in that business would not be there. And the investments that I'm doing now would not be there. This video that I'm doing now would have not been there. I also took sacrifice of being on here with you. If you look back in the days when I started doing the YouTube videos, you can see how horrible they were. But with learning, I have learned, and you are learning, and I'm learning. And that's what it's all about. I'm hoping that these 5 things can get you out of the rat race, as they call it. I'm hoping that these 5 things, if you're one of those people who are wanting to retire early, and retiring early is of a great importance to you, and you want to use the vehicle for property for doing that. And check, I'm saying the vehicle of property because I know that there's different vehicles out there. I remember one of my boys that I used to work with, he retired a year before me and he went into farming and he farms fish, I think he does, and he's doing well. Again, he's got a whole bunch of employees that work for him and he directs on his farm things that are going well. So there are so many ways that you can do it. And for me, my level 2 now is, because I now have a property management team that manages my property. So my 12 hours that I used to borrow or give to my employer, it's now back. I now have it, but I now have time to write books. I now have time to do YouTube. I now have time to look for more interesting deals. I now more have time to engage with investors that are wanting to invest in my business. Can you see now where level 1 restricts you and level 2 where it enables you, and how you can go bigger from there? This is not for everyone. Yes, I know. But if this is the journey, same journey you want to take in, I say welcome aboard. You can do it. I think the results have been awesome, and I'm still chasing them. And I'm excited of the journey. I think we need to be talking about your level 1. What is your level 1? Give me the comments in the section. And if you haven't hit the subscription button, you need to subscribe right now if this is the lovely content that you are enjoying. And if you think this was of value to someone else, I think copy it, take it to whatever channel you want to take it, share it with them, and take them there. Don't forget to tag me as well. My name is TJ, Taurai Jack. It's been great hanging out with you. Until we meet again, God bless, keep growing. Boom!